Oh no, is this thing on? Is this thing not working again? Gee whiz. Gee whiz. Amnon says it's down great. So this is a raid, apparently. Didn't know what a raid was until just a minute ago. Apparently a raid is when everybody goes over to Paul's house and drinks all of Paul's beer. It sounds like fun. Let's do it. No, I'm teasing. So welcome those of you that are coming from the PTZ Optics show today. That was really interesting stuff. I enjoyed to do it. In fact, that just gave me a great idea about a way to, you know how on the news shows sometimes they'll cut from one show to the other and the host from the previous show will kind of introduce the host for the next show and they'll chat for a second and then they'll turn it over. Something like that would be really fun. Kind of like what they're doing with Streamfest. Where you've got a show that passes from person to person to person over the day. I think it's August 4th during the summer, so that's going to be great. Something you want to put on your calendar. And Giles says I have perfect audio. That's when it wasn't working. Yeah, thanks. So welcome to Martin and Rudy and Rich and Tess and Kyle. It was so good to hang out with Kyle at NAB. I think we hung out a bunch. Nick, Chris, Daniel, Tommy, Mark, Amnon, Giles, Hassan, Chad, Ken, Mike, Timothy. It was great to see you. Let's see, where on my list? Elmar, Kenny, it was great. Kenny, we didn't get to hang out very much, but still, Kent's here, Steve's here. All right, who did I miss? If you're wondering what I'm talking about, you're probably not in the chat. Come on over to Eastern Shore Broadcasting, right down in there somewhere, .com, and you can get it on the chat. That's the fun part. And it was a ton of fun. I mean, I was reading, I was replying accidentally to one of the posts in the chat. So where Kyle said, "Thanks, Tom. I had a great time also." I said, well, yeah, it was a ton of fun. Is Tom's sound on? Thanks, Rich. Hello, Frank. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. We're going to get started here in just a second. Mike finally made a live show. Well, don't get your hopes up too high. You never know. I mean, it's just you will be dashed to the ground with disappointment. Let's see. Oh, today's the top 5 show, the top 5 of NAB. This is my personal top 5. And that has nothing to do with what NAB says was the top 5. So, yeah, that's right. Mike says they never are. As I'm thinking about it, and we'll do it again later, but I do want to express just the deepest thanks to the folks that helped sponsor the Streaming Idiots Meetup at NAB, because we couldn't have done it without you. To Scott Whitney and Nick Nichols for the use of the PodWorks studio, of course, to PTZ Optics for their major gift of the PTZ camera to give away, to vMix for the major gift of a pro license to give away, to Magewell and Yuan, that's Eric Pratt, and Bird Dog TV and X Keys. Just really appreciate you. You're like, what did Bird Dog give away a Bird Dog? Well, actually, Bird Dog gave away swag. So if you didn't get Bird Dog swag, you must have missed it on the way. It was on the way out the door, not on the way in the door. So if you got vMix, I mean, you got. Hold on a second. We got some swag here. Let's see. Can I reach it without knocking everything over? There we go. Yeah, it's the first annual Streaming Idiots koozies. Yeah, Streaming Idiots Meetup and NAB koozies with all our sponsors on the back, so you can remember all the folks that made that possible. Yeah, the food didn't just show up free. Okay, Chris says, okay, so I'm in chat here but watching on Facebook. Well, that's okay. We just don't do the Facebook chat simultaneously. I mean, if Tess wants to fly down here to the Gulf Coast of the United States and hang out and work on her tan, she can come do the show with us on Wednesdays and do our social media. Yeah. But although this is a great place to work on your tan. Chris has one of these. That's right. Chris has one of these. And I've got a limited number left. I think I need to figure out a good giveaway. I mean, a good reason to give them away. because it's a keepsake. We should have done one last year, but who knew that the 30 people that we had last year would turn into 100 this year. And such a cool party, such a cool time. Okay, how are we doing on time? We've got just a couple of minutes left. Anybody else slip in when I wasn't watching? Let's see. Rod's here. Welcome, Rod. Glad to have you. And Tommy Willis is here. Tommy, good to see you, man. Pro Video Go Evolution. Help me out with that one. Davey is here. Yes, Dave O is here. And Kenny H, I've already talked about. Amnon said that Nick enjoyed the short time he spent at the meetup. Yeah, he had to fly out like an hour before the meetup. Like an hour or two after the meetup started. So he just popped in. But it was great to have him there. That was Nick Craig from the Computers 2K Now fame. But he's also running a radio station in North Carolina, I think in the Raleigh area. Rich says next year we should get a big sponsor. I'll put on a few pounds. How about that? Tommy says not to gossip or anything, but Dave was showing one of those can coolers on World of Life streaming Monday and trying to pass it off as a cam sunblocker. Oh my goodness. Oh, Chris says that he thinks that Tess could handle the remote. He could handle the social media remotely. Huh, that's good. Evolution. Got it. All right, thank you. Sorry about that. Jerome's here. Hey, Jerome. Man, it was so good to see you again. That was a good time. And Curtis is here. Glad you got to go. Yes, indeed. We're going to have a report on that. And I'm not going to show you the live stream because it's already out there on the internet and you guys can go watch it. So let's see. I think we've got the YouTube feed going. We've got the Facebook stream going, and we are ready there. Yeah, the countdown is down to multiple seconds. So we're going to go live in 20. I mean, who knows me to ever start a show on time? I mean, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But let's see. Okay, Otis is here. Welcome, Otis. Better the last minute than not at all. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Okay. All right. So let's get this puppy moving. All right. Are you ready? I think all my shortcuts still work. We'll see. All right. Here we go. Well, hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, and this is Streaming Idiots. Yes. He's like, Tom, you're so calm. Why are you so calm? Well, just got back, just flew in. Boy, my arm's tired. Flew in from Las Vegas from the National Association of Broadcasters conference and trade show. Did I go to the conference? No. But I did go to the trade show. That's where the cool stuff was. It was like going into the world's largest toy store and candy shop combined. Oh my goodness. It's like, geek died and gone to heaven. Will there be tech in heaven? I do wonder about that. Probably not. Probably not. The Lord's going to be all we need. But anyway, it was an amazing show. I got to see just a teeny part of it because the vMix guys were kind enough to invite me to come out there and be on their staff for the week and work in the vMix booth for the week and tell everybody about my favorite software, vMix. And I got to see, and if you were there, you got to see it too. And in fact, even if you weren't there, I think there was some illicit video taken, Scott Pienta, of vMix 21. And all the cool things that are in vMix 21, and we're going to get to that in just a second when we get to my top 5 of NAB 2018. I'm greatly appreciative to all the folks that came to hang out with me at the Streaming Idiots Meetup at NAB. Last year we had, a couple dozen, 2.5 dozen, maybe 30 people, and we had a good time. No doubt about that. We got to talk to everybody. We did a kind of an impromptu live stream where we just sort of live streamed the group and we gave away some prizes. Well, having done that once and having said, hey, maybe this is a thing, you never know if a thing is a thing until after it's done. And then you're saying, hey, that was a thing. That was great. Let's do that again. And so I've been working together with the folks from PTZ Optics and vMix and Magewell and Yuan and X-Keys for, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 months trying to put together another gig like that. And of course, Scott Whitney at Podwork Studio very graciously allowed us to come in and trash his studio again. Oh my gosh. At first we said, oh, let's go for 100. And then it was like, well, maybe they'll just be 50. And so we cut back the numbers to 50. And then at the last minute I said, well, maybe there'll be a lot of people here. Let's go to 75. Turns out it was 103. And it was great. Folks were coming and going all night, and they got to meet people that they wouldn't otherwise get to meet. They got to experience talking with folks about live streams that they wouldn't otherwise know about. And I was really thrilled about that. That's the purpose of the meetup, is for the folks that maybe you follow online or that you've heard of, to get to meet them, talk to them, ask them questions, share stories, and enjoy a good time. And of course, there was the prize giveaway. We had a PTZ Optics camera. We had a, oh, you want to see some pictures? Okay, I got that. We can do pictures. Yeah. Let's see. Well, let's start at the beginning. Shall we start at the beginning? At the very beginning, well, Tim from vMix said, Tom, come on, go out and work for us. We'll have you in there on Sunday. And I was like, that's great. I'd love to come out on Sunday. And then Jeff Adams from The Jeff Adams Show. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Jeff's a really cool guy. Jeff called and said, look, Tom, the guys at Broadcast Beat want me to do the show again this year. And we do a live stream throughout NAB. And we're starting one on Saturday, the Saturday before NAB starts. Would you come and be on that show? And I said, sure. And he said, okay. And so I talked to the folks at Southwest, and they were able to rearrange my reservations, got out there, 2 days sooner than possible, and got to be on the set of this show. So this is the NAB live show produced by Broadcast Beat, and you can see Jeff there in the plaid shirt behind the desk. To the right of Jeff, of course, is Paul Richards with PTZ Optics. He was on the show. He's not a host, even though it looks like he might be a host. And then in the chairs from right to left is Scott Whitney with Podworks and John Mahoney with NeuralNet, and then, of course, yours truly on the far end. And I don't know if you can notice in the in the far left-hand side of the screen, there's the director there. She's pointing. Here we are at a live streaming show, talking about live streaming, doing a live stream, and they don't have tally lights that work. It was hilarious. Oh my goodness. So this director is pointing to cameras throughout the show. So it was really pretty funny. And we found out later that in fact the live stream failed. And so there was no live stream for that particular event. I don't know what happened. It went for 10 seconds and then it died, but it's now available. I think we linked to it in the Streaming Idiots group, so if you want to go watch it, you can. Here's the group that was out there. Thanks to Scott Whitney for the picture. And again, left to right, that's me and John Mahoney and Scott Whitney and Paul. What is this thing about everybody opening their mouth when they smile? I don't get it. Anyway, but it was a lot of fun. And then since I was there a couple days early, the next choice was to say, well, let's see what's going on at vMix. So we went on down to the vMix booth, and of course it's dark and things are getting set up. You can see they still have the plastic on the carpet. You can see Martin working on a PC over there on the left-hand side, and Tim with Martin K, looking at all the new features in vMix 21, and then, of course, Kimberly, Martin's sister, in the turquoise, putting together a PC on the right side. So they were still putting the finishing touches on the booth. So I thought, well, if they're going to put finishing touches on the booth, I'm going to go hang out with some of my favorite folks at at X Keys. So Maggie and Miranda, and of course Dan and Philip and I went out to dinner. Actually, I think Tim went with us too. And Tim and Miranda's on the left. Tim and Miranda were going to go sing karaoke later. I don't know if they ever made it. But it would have been a fun time had they done that. And then right before the booth opened, this would have been Monday morning, I was hanging out at the booth, and who should stop by but this character. I mean, oh my goodness. They'll let Matt Davis out of the box long enough to come visit different booths. So Matt came over. Matt's the lead engineer at PTZ Optics. And came over and we talked about 4K cameras and their 30X camera that's coming out soon, and the 3D camera that they were working on for a while back. I think they shelved the 3D project, but it was neat to catch up with Matt and to hear a little bit of what their roadmap. So then the trade show opens, and we have a chance to start working. You can see the booth. We had a great big sign above the booth. And you can see the plastic is pulled off now. We had 6 workstations there. 2 of them were powered by laptops. 3 of them were powered by PCs from Eastern Shore Broadcasting, my company, including a i9 Obsidian build that was used for their 4K 60 PC. It was a ton of fun to build all those PCs and then to see them in action there at the vMix booth. I think we've got another perspective shot of it here. And this is actually a great video that Martin K put together. I appreciate that, Martin. And gives you an idea of, kind of what was going on there at the vMix booth. So if you happen to miss it, you see there's Seth Haberman and Judith Haberman. They were working out some details on a PC. Judith came down with Seth. She was our Spanish speaker. And then you can see Tim with Dave, and that's TJ. And Dave's wife to the left. And just a great opportunity. I really appreciate Martin taking the time to walk through and make a video like this so that you could kind of capture a little bit of what was going on. Each of those stations, you can't really see it because the sign is kind of blanked out at the top, but each of those stations represents a particular aspect. This happens to be the portable product solution, where we used a laptop to illustrate how you can bring in 4 cameras of high-definition video into a laptop via Thunderbolt and still have an excellent production. That poor young man, was like, how can I get out of here? Just somebody tell this guy to shut up so I can break away. Actually, no, he was really nice and asked some good questions. And this is Kimberly answering some questions. That's the IP production side. So actually all of the systems there at the vMix booth you see the 2 PTZ cameras on top of the booth there. They're almost out of sight now. But all of the cameras there, and of course all the outputs from all the PCs were available to the other PCs through NDI. So we could exchange cameras, we could exchange audio, we could exchange outputs. It was really fun to be able to demonstrate that. We set up vMix call between different computers and between cell phones and computers to demonstrate all of that, as well as the new features that were available in vMix, including, well, we'll get to those in just a second. But thanks so much to Martin K for coming down and taking the pictures. We also have, if you'll stick around for the post show, there's a longer video where Martin walks through the South Hall where we were and shows off some of the booths. And so if you didn't make it to NAB, you'll want to hang around to the post show so that you can see some of what's there. And there we go. We'll go back there. So the show was just a tremendous lot of fun. We got to talk to all sorts of people during the course of the show. Every now and then you would look over and you would see Martin deciding to to make a change to the software. He made 3 or 4 changes, just little tweaks while we were there. Before we had gotten too far into the show, Sean Lamb came by from Streaming Media magazine and presented to Martin, a Video Innovation Award for the color correction in vMix 21. You can sneak a little peek here at what that looks like. This is a purloined copy. I did not take this picture. I just want to go on the record. I did not take this picture. This was actually a video that somebody took about the new vMix color correction. You'll want to hang around, not today, but for the next vMix Funtime live show coming up at vmix.com, I think in 2 weeks, where they will show you more details on vMix 21. And then right after that show, they'll release a beta for everyone to see. We also got the Best of Show, or I say we, it's vMix. vMix got Best of Show. Now you notice that looks kind of penciled in. Well, that's because they don't decide in advance. They come around and they check and they see, and sure enough, this is I think either 3rd or 4th year in a row that vMix has won Best of NAB 2018 from Streaming Media magazine. So hat tip to the guys at Streaming Media. On down, there was something that happened on Tuesday night. We had a few of our best friends. Look at that crazy group. This is about half the group that was there. This is the picture that was taken after the prize giveaway. So, a lot of folks made the exit at that point. But just so great to see so many of these folks there. Some of them I knew by face, and by others I knew by name. You can look around the room and see some familiar faces, and if they're not familiar faces, they'll be familiar names like Scott Pienta and Rich Ignacio, and let's see who else is there. Oh my gosh, so many. Kane from New Tech, Jerome's there, Otis is there. Looking around the room, Scott's there, Paul is there, Tess is there. Just so many old friends and new friends. It was great to see them all. Great to see them all there. Everybody got a Streaming Idiots Meetup souvenir, and so that was fun. So that you can treasure that. There's another shot. You can get a better picture of all the folks that were hanging around till the bitter end of this party. But the party started out with a live stream. Hat tip, to Dave in the tan jacket, and Kenny in his dungarees. I'm teasing Kenny. We got started with the live stream and kind of a welcome, and then continued to live stream throughout the evening with interviews of guests there, and then also interviews of sponsors. And then after that, we had a presentation of our grand prize. And here's the grand prize being awarded to Bob McGowan. This is the PTZ Optics 12x camera in white. Tess was the presenter on that one. So that was a ton of fun. And again, you can go watch the video to see all of the interviews and all of the prize presentations from the Streaming Idiots Meetup. After the meetup, the next day, Paul and Tess were kind enough to invite me to their set, the PTZ Optics live set, to do the regular Streaming Idiot show. So if you saw the Streaming Idiot show last week, it was indeed from the floor of NAB, and it was just a lot of fun to be able to do something like that. So that's the NAB report. It was a lot of fun. If you're thinking, golly, I'd like to do something like that, now's the time to make your hotel reservations. Now's the time to make your plane reservations. Get in on the good, cheap airfares and the inexpensive hotels as best you can. It's definitely something you need to do once. And my hope is that some of our UK buddies will be able to kind of come together as a group and come over for this event next year. Again, if you're thinking, the dates are already published. I don't have them in front of me, but you can find them at NAB.com and see when the dates of the convention and specifically the dates of the trade show. Trade show starts on a Monday, ends on a Thursday, and you want to make sure you stay over Tuesday night because that'll be the date of the Streaming Idiots meetup. As to the location for next year, you know, as you could tell if you were watching the PTZ Optics show earlier today, we have some ideas about maybe renting a former billionaire's mansion. Maybe Zuckerberg's mansion is going to be available. Don't know, but we need a place where we can house a couple of hundred people. We're also talking about continuing to have it at Scott Whitney's Podworks studio because it's cool to be able to see a studio, a live working live stream studio, and maybe rent a ginormous tent and put it in front of the studio there in the parking area. The weather's mild, so it would be very comfortable, and we could have all our refreshments outside and then go in to tour the studio, that type of thing. Craig corrects me. It's nab.org. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate the correction. So put that down on your calendar for whatever date that is next year, and see if you can't find a way to get there. It really will be. It will be something you won't regret. You'll meet people that you wouldn't otherwise be able to meet. You'll see things, good things, that you will. Don't go with Scott Pianta if you want to see the other stuff. But you will see good things that you wouldn't otherwise get to see. And of course, you'll go to the Streaming Idiots meetup again, and that will be a blast. So let's transition over. Here's a transition. How about that for a transition? We'll transition now to my top 5. Ken says, how are your feet and legs afterwards? Actually, if you stay hydrated, you do pretty well. And Kyle says the dates are April 8th through 11. So that means the Streaming Idiots meetup is going to be April 9th, 2019. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Ken. And Chris says you could just sign up for IBC, but there might be a Streaming Idiots meetup at IBC. We'll have to work on that. So, so here we go. Now let's transition. Let's transition to the top 5 let's see, what was it? Oh, the top 5 of NAB. Ta-da! Thank you, Giles. So this is the top 5 of NAB. This is my personal top 5. Now, keep in mind that I was ball and chained and handcuffed to the vMix booth, so I didn't get away very much. But a lot of people came by. And one of the people that came by the vMix booth and spent some time with me, because Martin and Tim weren't there, and I was the only other person that looked old enough to be official, it's because the other ones are so young, was Microsoft. A gentleman from Microsoft from the Skype division came by and said, hey, what do you guys think about Skype NDI that's coming out? And I said, Skype NDI? What's that? No, not PC. And I said, we've heard a lot about it. We haven't seen it. Of course, we're looking forward to seeing it when it comes out. The beta should be out in a month, I think. And he said, well, what would, we know a lot about you. We know a lot about vMix. And frankly, we can't figure out why we haven't already purchased your company. But nevertheless, we want to know what you think, or how would it best interface with what you're doing? How would you best interface? Well, I had already heard that Skype NDI was going to be able to, that Skype would produce an NDI feed of the video and the audio of the Skype call. But you were sort of left on your own as to how to get the audio and video back into Skype as a video, as a webcam, and as a microphone in order to send it back to your caller. And, I asked about that. And he said, well, it's still a work in progress. And I said, well, here's the solution. Just take an NDI feed. NDI out, NDI in. Let NDI come into Skype, and then you've got a great source. And unfortunately, well, maybe it's not unfortunate, but that's what vMix Call does, in essence. It's a built-in audio and video. The other thing that Skype needs to do is to build in a mix minus. And I'm not sure how they're going to do that. In order to fully equate with vMix Call, they're going to have to build in a mix minus. But they do have sort of a noise canceling feature. So we'll see. We'll see. But it's due out in in 3 or 4 weeks as a beta. We'll review it when it does. And that made my top 5 list because I think that's really cool. And here's the cool part about it. Number 1, Andrew Cross, Dr. Andrew Cross, the CTO of NewTek, was making a presentation to all the NewTek resellers on Sunday night at NAB, and I snuck in the back door. No, actually, they allowed me to come in. It was really nice. I had to stand outside, but they allowed me to come up to the door. Anyway, and he was talking about that, and to make a long story short, what he was saying was, this makes an NDI, if we ever thought that NDI wasn't legitimate, now we know. Microsoft is adopting NDI into one of their products. And so, guys, we've arrived. We're not finished, but we've arrived. And I think that was a great message, and I do agree that gives a lot of legitimacy to the NDI journey and the NDI battle, the NDI challenge. Now they're plugged into Microsoft. Now that sword cuts both ways. So a word to Dr. Cross, watch your back. The other thing that was announced, actually was announced Saturday, I think, before NAB, was that our friends at Bird Dog TV have, or I think they're calling themselves Bird Dog now. It's bird-dog.tv is their URL. Anyway, Dan and Eamon have come up with the Bird Dog Mini. So one Bird Dog wasn't enough. Now they have a puppy. And the puppy does full NDI output, not NDI HX, so it's not that compressed version of NDI. Full NDI output on an HDMI input for $595. It includes tally lights. It is powered PoE, and with the proper accessories, it can also do comm. So there's a great way if you've got a good investment in cams and you want to go an all NDI set, that is, you want to run one cable to your cams. You can do PoE, you can do NDI, and you can do it for $595 each. We will be adding Bird Dog to our store as soon as I get back from my trip. I'll tell you about that in a few minutes. The number 3 for me on the list of favorite things at NAB was one of the other announcements from NewTek on Sunday night, that NewTek is producing a Bird Dog knockoff called the NewTek Connect Spark 4K. And that is, the NewTek Connect Spark Pro. And it is a Bird Dog knockoff that does 4K and is available at $9.99. So I think that's going to put a hurting on Bird Dog's studio device, which is the $8.95 device. So we'll see if we get some price movement there, because spend an extra $100 and get a 4K. But the Bird Dog Studio is supposed to be coming out with some firmware upgrades that will allow it to have 2 camera input as well as do tally lights and comm. So there may be some distinct advantages there. We'll see how that fleshes out. But here's the news. Here's the backstory on all of that, or my conclusion on all of that is that NDI is a major player now. NewTek's come up with the product. Bird Dog, those guys took a big chance. But now Skype, Microsoft, is adopting NDI. Well, I think we may see floodgates opened by NAB or IBC next year. We'll see a lot more software products as well as hardware products adopting or creating totally new products based on NDI. Can't wait. It's a great time. Is this the golden age or what? It is. It really is. Number 4 on my list, and these are in no particular order. Yes, Rudy, I agree. It does seem like all the good stuff comes from Australia. That's where the Bird Dog guys are. That's where the vMix guys are. So number 4 on my list, and this is not in order of importance, because if it was, I would have mentioned this one first. But I had all week to play with vMix 21. Oh yes. And it was like, should I tell the vMix guys that I put it on a thumb drive and brought it home with me? I probably shouldn't tell them that. But it was, and no, I'm not using vMix 21 for this broadcast. I'm anticipating that question already. No, didn't use it. But vMix 21 was great. It was so great. It was so nice. I mean, I can't appreciate these things the way some of you can appreciate it. If you're a camera guy, if you're a video camera guy, you're going to love the new color correction feature in vMix. You're going to love the vector scope and the gyrograph and the spirograph and all these other things that they've put in there that allow you to monitor what your color looks like on graphs as well as adjust it. You know how, what is it? Canons are a little red, and Sonys are a little green, and Panasonics are a little blue and red. Well, now you can adjust all those so that all your cameras will match. It is going to be great, and you can do it in the vMix software. So if your camera is remotely off someplace and you can't get to it to adjust the little settings on the little viewfinder, you can do that through vMix, and you can save those settings. So if you were in those same conditions, i.e. the same camera placement, the same lighting, you can just go into vMix, load that preset, and pow, you're ready to go. So it really can reduce the amount of time that you spend doing that kind of detail work when the time comes. Really gonna be great. Really gonna be great. The one of the features that I like that you probably saw on the last vMix Fun Time show, but you may not, like me, you didn't really realize that's what it was until until somebody said that's what it was the ability to start and stop different streams at different times. So we've got the ability to stream to 3 different destinations at the same time. That's always been there. But now you can start 2, turn one of them off, start a third, start the second one back again, stop the third one, change the third one to something else, and then start it again. It's amazing. It's great. And I think who was it? I think it was Martin and Tim. Yeah, they're the only ones using it. Of course, it couldn't have been anybody else. Martin and Tim doing the Facebook shout out. That's going to be kind of fun. If there's a maybe you stream to Twitch, maybe you stream to Periscope, and you want to do a Facebook shout out to say, come on, we're starting over here. We're not going to broadcast here on Facebook, but we're starting over here. Come rate us. Yeah, get it. I love it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Ken says, can you stream independent outputs? Help settle that question, Tom. I am not allowed to comment on that subject at this time. Read into that what you will. Right. Are we clear on that? Okay, good. Just want to make sure. One of the favorite features, and it's kind of like the feature that Martin put in, was the feature to, get this is Windows 21 now, force Windows to go dormant on updates while vMix is running. So if vMix is running and all of a sudden Windows decides to do an update, it can't. vMix will pound it into the ground and make it stop. And that's going to be a lifesaver. I mean, how many folks, churches, big time, and this happens to me at my church periodically too, is I'll forget that it was second Tuesday, the previous Tuesday, and this is the following Sunday, and I turn on that laptop that I only use for streaming at the church, and all of a sudden it wants to update. Now I can tick that little check box, and Windows will not interrupt my vMix production again. I think it's great. I think it's great. Now, there is one other feature that we were using on the floor at vMix, And I would like to make you think that I'm under some NDI about what that feature is, but I just plumb forgot. I tried to write it down, but I forgot. So if I remember during the course of the show, I'll let you know. Okay, we're dragging. Fifth, yes, color correction is per input. Thank you, Martin K. Absolutely. So the fifth on my top 5 favorites of NAB, and again in no particular order, was of course the Streaming Idiots Meetup. It was an absolute blast. It was everything I'd hoped to. It was so great to meet so many of you that I'd never met before, so many of you that I'd met the year before, or other places, and folks that I'd been corresponding with, and somebody would walk up and say, "Hi, Tom, I'm so-and-so," and it's like, oh, wow, okay, this is great. I love it. Put on your calendar for next year to come out to NAB, not just so you can come to the Streaming Idiot Meetup, but so that you can do all the other stuff and you can come to the Streaming Idiot Meetup. It will be, did I say NDI instead of NDA? Thank you, Rudy. Too damn many initials floating around here that start with N and D. Anyway, come to NAB next year, really. Find a way to get there. Start saving now. If you saved $20 a week, by the time NAB turned around, you would probably have enough money to fund the whole trip, or get your boss to send you. Right, Dave? Your boss sent you, didn't he? I don't think he did. I don't think he did. So that was NAB, and it was a ton of fun. That was my top 5 for NAB. So we're going to transition back to the regular show. Now we're back in the regular show. And we will have to wait. The Streaming Idiots, not the Streaming Idiots, the vMix Fun Time live show is coming up in 2 weeks. It will be on, does anybody have a calendar around here? Let's see what the calendar says. It will be I think it's going to be the 24th, Tuesday the 24th. So that's next week. That's next Tuesday. And of course we'll have the Streaming Idiots show. Oh, I need to tell you about the Streaming Idiots show next week. All right, here's the deal. It's possible there won't be a Streaming Idiots show next week. I'm not completely sure. I'm going to visit my son, who lives in Thailand, which is 12 hours time difference from me here in Alabama. So currently it's 2:34 here in Alabama, and it's 2:34 in the morning there in Thailand. So I'm thinking, I'm just crazy enough to get up in the middle of the night and do a live stream in the dark from Thailand. I had hoped to do something from the beaches, or with elephants in the background or something like that. But we'll just have to, we'll have to see. Maybe I can do some video and bring that into that. But I'll make sure you guys know about it so that you don't have to get up at 2:30. No, that's right. That would be me getting up at 2:30 in the morning. Never mind. So I'll make sure that everybody's aware of whether or not we have a show and how we do it. I'll be there for 17 days, so it'll be the next 2 Wednesdays. I will be overseas in Thailand, and look forward to that as an opportunity to see my son. Sandy and I are both going, and to kind of recharge my batteries. NAB was a great battery recharge, but if you've ever been to an event like that, especially if you've worked an event like that, you know that it takes a lot of wind out of your sails, a lot of energy, a lot of gas out of your tank. And so it'll be nice to get away and recharge batteries and think about how we can take Streaming Idiots, take all of us up to the next level. I've got some ideas, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So, live from Chiang Mai. Well, I don't know where Chiang Mai is, Rudy, but if it's anywhere close to where I am, we'll see. I think we're going to go down to the south and go to the James Bond Island, and then at some point we'll go to the bridge over the River Kwai, and we will enjoy the sunshine. I think it's 95 degrees there, at least it was during the day today, so it'll be there. So that's the story. That's the show. That's the show. Oh, you know what? I forgot the most important part of the show. Oh my gosh. This show is a giant infomercial. You know that part. The lot of info and the little bit of commercial. Well, if you made it this far, yeah, you can go ahead and turn off the show now. There's nothing left but the commercial part. Yeah, well, hey, I'm not a vMix employee. I'm a vMix reseller. So when you buy vMix from me, you pay the same price as if you bought it from vMix directly on their website. You can download the trial at vmix.com and then come back later when your trial expires and buy it from me for the same price you could buy it from them. And they're okay with that. I mean, that's why they have resellers like me, because they know resellers like me can add value to the sale by, you get my email address, you get my cell phone number, you can text me, you can send me a Facebook message, we can work together on projects. Folks that buy vMix from me get unlimited tech support. That means if you have a problem, I'll help you solve it. Now, if you're working on a project and you want to put the project together, that's different. That's not tech support. That's workflow development. And we might charge you for that one. But nevertheless, you get free lifetime tech support. Yours or mine, whichever ends first. Got it? All right. Also represent PTZ Optics. Same price from me as from B&H Photo or from Amazon. Free shipping, yes, except you get support from people that use the stuff, that know the stuff, that sometimes put a scratch in the stuff. Oh, golly. Anyway, X keys. Yes, X keys. We got X keys. Love X keys. Magewell capture cards, Magewell dongles, Yuan capture cards, Yuan dongles, Yuan dongles. We'll be adding Yuan to our official lineup soon. Bird dog stuff. Yep. We may actually see if we can't find a supply for the NewTek Connect Spark Pro so you can get all your NDI gear in one place. You have a PTZ Optics camera and you want to upgrade it to NDI, we can help you with that. We can sell it to you. We can coach you through the process. Do you need to rent a PC for live streaming? We sent rentals out to NAB. You want to buy one of our rental PCs? Yes, you can do that too. But contact me at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Cue the graphic. Let's try that one again. Can we do that? Let's try it. Here we go. Did that do it? No, that didn't do it either. Oh, golly. Well, anyways, there it is. There it is. easternshorebroadcasting.com. You can reach me through the contact page there. I'm happy to answer your questions. Happy to help you purchase the right tool for the job. If you're like, Tom, I know there are all these products, but I really don't. I think I know what I want, but I don't want to get tied in, and I'm not sure if I want to do 4K or 1080p or 4K 60. I'll talk you out of that one real quick. But I need some advice. Yeah, call me up. We can chat. There's no charge for that kind of advice. If you want me to figure out exactly what kind of streaming PC is going to work for you and build it for you, that's what we do. That's what we do. So we're happy to do that too. So there we go. All right. So let's end the show and we'll go to the post show. So if you've got questions, make sure you get them in the chat, and we'll do the outro. Thanks to Martin K. Oh, this is Martin's good work. And we'll see you in post-show in just a sec. That was fun. Let's do that again. Three, two, one. Out. There we go. And we're in post-show. Oh, post-show. All right. So what's the deal? What do we got? Kent says, Tom, do you see the NDI Skype feature taking over vMix Call? Will Skype push up the CPU on vMix? No and maybe. No, seriously, that's a great question, Kent. I have not seen it. I have not demoed it. I have not put it on my PC. I can't imagine that it's going to. I mean, NDI adds a little CPU usage. Skype definitely adds CPU usage. If you're on the CPU borderline, it might be fun for us to do an experiment on what's going to take less CPU, a vMix call or a Skype call. And, sending working with the same resolution, the same person, that'll be fun. We'll set that up as soon as we can get a hold of a Microsoft Skype beta with NDI in it. Amnon says it couldn't push it more than it does right now. Well, I think that the way it would is that it would add the NDI overhead to it, because every NDI source adds its own overhead. My guess is that it will be the existing Skype with NDI added, so we'll see. Let's see. Tommy Willis says, Lifetime, how old are you? Well, I'm younger than you, but not by much. Chris says 62-ish. He is absolutely right. I am 62. We'll be 63 in November. And, oh my gosh. Somebody's calling because they think the show's over. Amnon, quit that. But I have good bloodlines. My mom is 85 and still pushing strong. Let's see. Ken says compare vMix Call, Skype, and Zoom. Yeah, and that's going to be fun to do because they're each one different. Each one is going to have a sweet spot. I think vMix Call is for live streaming is going to have a bigger sweet spot than say Zoom, and we'll have to see what Skype looks like. The fact that Skype means that it can do an NDI output is going to separate it from Zoom because Zoom can't do an NDI output. So I think that's a big comparison. And then when we look at the audio side of it, we'll have to see how Skype handles audio. But we want the advantage. Here's the advantage with vMix Call is that in a production environment, in a live streaming environment, where you've got a guest who's sending you pristine 1080p video and absolutely wonderful audio with no audio ducking, where one side of the call gets lowered than the other so the other one can be heard. No audio ducking. That is full duplex with an automatic mix minus. That's the bar that vMix Call has set, and we'll see if Skype can come anywhere close to it. We'll see. And I think, say, for example, if I had vMix HD and I had one caller, and then I could bring in a Skype caller as my second one so I didn't have to upgrade to vMix 4K. Or if I had 4K and I could bring in two callers, and then Skype would be my third caller. Maybe I could see a scenario where we're doing that. But it all depends on the devil's in the details. Daniel Jones says, we are interested in the Marshall cameras, but it seems they have a bunch of models. We're looking for a 1080p model with SDI out. Any recommendations? Also, how do you mount them? Well, just so happens, I have one right here, and they're not very big. Holy cow, they're teeny little guys. And this one's got a little pigtail that comes with it here that powers it, and you can see it's SDI in. The other one is a reference. Excuse me, the other one is a composite. This is SDI input. They also make this same type of camera with an SDI input and an HDMI input. I don't think I have one here on the desk. I think I've got it on the work table. And then it has a fixed lens, and it has a standard camera mount on the bottom. So if you're interested, let me know, and I can make you a deal on some of them. This is the Marshall, you would think you would have, this is the Marshall CV, that's constant velocity, CV502-MB, Michael Bradley. CV502-MB. All right, so that's the Marshall cam. Pretty cool. 1080p. Yep. Chris says Skype recently because they insisted. They did. It was funny when I was, can I say this? Well, we'll get forgiveness later rather than permission in advance. I was talking with some of the vMix brass about my conversation with the Microsoft guy and how he had said, how come we haven't purchased your company? And they said, well, it's about time. We've heard from everybody else. Why not Microsoft? Stick by your guns, guys. Don't let anybody buy you. They'll just mess up vMix. They don't get it. They just want a profit center. You want to change the world. Don't forget that. All right, Tom, can you comment? Oh, this is Kenny. Tom, he's setting me up. Tom, can you step into this snare? Tom, can you comment on the upcoming color correction feature? Well, I thought I already did. Does it appear to increase CPU use or the latency in the video? No, it does not. Does not do either. It is virtually invisible to CPU and does not impact latency. Now, I didn't have 10 cameras that I was working with, but I think I still don't think it's. I mean, you're only going to color correct one camera at a time. No, I don't think there was any hit there. Daniel Jones says, we are testing vMix Call. You're only testing it? You better buy it from me. We are testing vMix Call, connecting our 2 studios, and it's working great so far. That's great. That's a great use. That's a great use. And of course, if your 2 studios are on the same network, then you do NDI. So obviously your 2 studios are not on the same network. And you also may want to look into the NDI round the world connection available from, I think Sienna TV has got one and MediaLux has got one. I think Sienna does the Apple version and MediaLux does the PC version. So take a look at that, and that will allow you to go all over the world connecting your studios together via NDI. So that means all the sources on in your other studio are available to you in your studio, not just the vMix Call source that's being sent. Although you can set up 2 vMix Calls and connect 2 sources. You certainly can do this. Kenny says, this is great news. Oh, that is great news. I think so too. I think, Martin's a genius. He's just an unassuming, humble, super creative, amazing guy. All right, let's see. Chris Watts says, but if Microsoft buys vMix, we get Cortina in vMix. Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening, I don't think. Daniel says, totally agree. Don't want anyone to buy vMix, except you buy it from me. Thank you for the setup on that one, Daniel. All right, Daniel Jones also says they are removed from each other. I think he means, oh yeah, one is in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and one is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah, well, look into MediaLux. I was the guy that created that was, all the cool people were at the Streaming Idiots party. Andre was at the Streaming Idiots party, the guy from MediaLux. So see, if you come, who else was there? Okay, of course Andre was there. Jeff Adams was there. Now I'm trying to name drop. Okay, you get that I'm name dropping. All right. Who else was there? Paul Richards. Tess was there. You don't even have to know Tess's last name. It's Protesto, but Tess was there. Tess was there. It was great. Luria was there. There's somebody that doesn't even need you to name a last name. You know who she is just by first name. Rich Ignacio was there. I mean, let's drop big names, right? Right, Rich? Who else was there that was noteworthy? I mean, there was Sean Lamb was there from Streaming Media. Kane Peterson was there from New Tech. There was somebody there from Magewell from China. Let's see, what other kind of big wigs? And these were all just regular people. They weren't any kind of superstars expecting people to pay attention to them. They wanted to come and meet everybody else and kind of hear what you had to think. And I've had several people since then kind of ask me, Tom, can you kind of sum up what was being said there? And I was like, well, not really, because I wasn't in on much of it. I was too busy making sure everybody was having a good time, but that was okay. Yeah, it was a good deal. It was a good deal. All right, so let's see. The chat is slowing down. So let's see who else has slipped in while I wasn't looking. Chris slipped in. Frank has been there. Let's see, and I've lost my chat. It says Chatwing's server IP address could not be found. Huh. Well, I lost I lost it one place. All right, Otis says, Karen was there. That's right, Karen was there. Karen won a prize. Karen Granville won Paul Richards' book. And she's like, what do I do with this book? And Otis took it. I want it. I'll read it. And Kyle Gunderman was there. That's right. Oh, well, yeah, definitely. Kyle was there. Nick Craig was there. Yeah. Okay. I've lost my chat wing in one place, but not the other. I hope you guys... Is chat still working for you guys? I think Otis is the only one that got it to work in the last 3 minutes. So, yeah, the fact that I'm not getting... that I'm not getting any response on that means that maybe it's not working. Let's try another URL and see if we can get in there. Nope. Okay, well, I apologize for that. Yeah, somebody was asking me, Dave says it's working there. Okay, thank you. Kent says it's working there. Well, yeah, it's not working in Alabama. So Daniel says he thinks it still works. Mine just won't even load. Although I've got 3 instances of the chat going. The one that you see here is obviously still working, but I wasn't sure that it was. Anyway, the others are frozen and not reloading. So, oh well. Okay, well, thank you. We must have more of a latency today in the live stream than normal. All right, Daniel says, Tim from the vMix team was very cool and listened to all our concerns. They're amazing. Absolutely. It's working in Georgia. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, Tim is cool. Tim is the one that is kind of the face of vMix in terms of, dealing with vendors and negotiating with NAB for floor space and coming up with crazy ideas for T-shirts and mouse pads. Did you get an NAB mouse pad? I mean, a vMix mouse pad? I can't reach them from here. I should be using one right here. They were really cool. They show the Grand Canyon on it. Frank says, because of Tim, I'm getting vMix 4K. Well, Frank, I hope you're buying it from me, because you get it from me for the same price. You get it from Tim. And Tim gets paid both ways. It's a win-win all the way across the world. Anyway, no, Tim came up with some great live streaming T-shirts. You saw Paul and Tess wearing those in the pictures from Tuesday night. Let's see if we've got a picture here that shows this. Can we blow that picture up a little bit, maybe? Let's see if we can blow that up a little. Yeah, there we go. There's Tess in her vMix shirt. You can't really see where Paul is. He's in there somewhere. Paul, where are you? Ah! Anyway, there's Tess in her vMix shirt. So, Frank says, I was looking at different solutions, but his videos convinced me. I'm Buddy. All right, one's vMix 21. Well, here's the thing. You don't have to wait till vMix 21 comes out because, number one, you get free upgrades, major, minor, the whole 9 yards. Officially, you get free upgrades for a year. But the word on the street, and doggone if I know it to be true because it is true, is that vMix just lets everybody upgrade for free. Some of those other softwares, you have to pay a huge chunk of money to upgrade. And I was asking, Tim and I had dinner together on Thursday night after NAB. We had a great dinner together. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Tim, if you're watching this. And I won't tell what we talked about for the first 4.5 hours, but I can talk about what we talked about for the next 2 hours. Anyway, just teasing. But Tim said, their intention is to continue their unofficial free upgrade policy. So you can't get any better than that. What does that tell you about that company? What does that tell you about that company? It tells you that they feel I won't say it's an obligation, but they feel a connection with their existing user base, with the folks that spent money on vMix a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And they want to bring those folks along to the latest, greatest and have them as part of the party. They don't have to do that. I mean, the precedent is already set for other people by other people to charge for upgrades. So they could charge for upgrades and get away with it, and nobody would think any less of them. but they want to bring. I was talking to somebody the other day who's using vMix 14. I was like, dude, you can upgrade to vMix 20 for free. He said, no, I can't. I said, just do it. I haven't heard back from him yet. I hope he was able to do it. But I just love the concept that vMix is kind of a people's. I know you've got OBS, the Open Broadcast System, that's free and is an open system, and lots of people are contributing to it, and gamers love it. But vMix really is software of the people and for the people. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why Martin has not cashed out to Google or Facebook or whoever else has been trying to buy him in the past, is because he loses control. He loses the ability to do what he wants and to serve his clients the way his heart tells him to do it. So can't get much better than that. All right. Great vMix lanyards again this year. Yeah. Boy, vMix is on the map with lanyards at NAB. 100,000 people went home with lanyards, the little cord thingy. I've got one, but they're out of reach. A vMix lanyard. In fact, we're going to put together a prize package with a vMix mouse pad, a vMix lanyard, some Streaming Idiot swag, and some leftover Bird Dog swag, and anything else we can think of from NAB. And I'll put that together as a prize package, and we'll do that on a upcoming show. We're not necessarily next one, but an upcoming show. All right, Frank says he still has a couple of weeks on his trial. Tom, chill out about making me buy it from you. Actually, Paul Richards helped me make up my mind too. Yeah, that's right. Paul will tell you, yeah, we support TriCaster and vMix and Wirecast, but he'll tell you privately, we use vMix in our production. When they got to NAB and they were firing up the various softwares to demonstrate, you can guess there was one that did not work. And it wasn't vMix. Anyway. All right. Let's see. Tim offered to make more training videos if we email vMix our needs. Absolutely. Absolutely. info@vmix.com, or you can put a suggestion in the vMix forum. If you haven't used the vMix forum, by all means do. It's forums, plural, F-O-R-U-M-S, .vmix.com. And you can register for that, and then I think you have to be a user, a licensed user, to get into the forum. They were having so much problem with people spamming it and putting all sorts of links in there to try to improve their SEO and all that stuff, so they had to do that. Frank says, that reminds me of a great company I buy hardware from for my fireworks passion. Fireworks is as in boom, boom. I get it. All right, Frank says, I'm buying from you, buddy. It's a done deal. In other words, chill, Tom. It'll be okay. Okay. Let me tell you about another company that I had a ton of fun working with at NAB, because I'm a vMix guy, and that's vMix is the secret sauce in a lot of ways. But it's so much fun. If you haven't, you have to find a way to do this, to work with the folks at PTZ Optics. Paul Richards and Tess Protesto are the faces of PTZ Optics, but then you get to work with people like Matt Davis, their lead engineer, Matt Richards, who is one of the sales guys, Patrick Kirby. All these guys were out there at NAB, and they're just delightful people to work with. And who was it the other day? It was I'm trying to remember. It was one of the PTZ Optics guys in their office in Pennsylvania. Somebody had called them and wanted some advice on integrating PTZ Optics into a full system. And so the PTZ Optics guys said, call Tom. He can sell you the cameras. He can put the system together for you. And that was just so cool to get that recommendation. And I really, really, really appreciate it. I take that stuff very seriously when somebody steps out on a limb to say, we're gonna recommend Tom for something. Yep, I appreciate that, and will do my best to live up to it. Let's see, what else? What other questions do you have that I can answer because we're getting close to the wind down point. Nick says, any word on getting vMix Social to work in Facebook private closed groups? I'm thinking there must be a way, probably using vMix browsers, to log into Facebook. Well, here's the thing, and this is the way it was explained to me the last time I listened, Nick, is that Facebook is allowing vMix through its API to pick up comments to a post on a page. And it is not allowing vMix to pick up comments to a post in a group. Now you think about that for a second. You say, well, why would that be? Well, if you've got a private closed group, there, Facebook is thinking, okay, you've got a private closed group. You've got a privacy concern. You've got a privacy issue, i.e. we're not going to let you take all this information out of this group and put it somewhere else if the group is intended to be private and closed. Now, will it work with an open group? What's it called? It's not an open group, public group. I don't think it'll work with a group anyway, but I think that's the backstory on why it doesn't work that way. It's because that way just doesn't work. Facebook is not going to allow it to work. So therein lies the issue. And I will assure you, well, I can't assure you, but I'll bet you a whole nickel, a US nickel, that when Facebook allows you to do that, that Martin Sinclair will be there to make it happen. Toot sweet. Nick says, thanks for your explanation, Tom. BS, 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 BS. I understand. You watch this show, you have to understand there's a certain amount of BS involved anyway. But that's my understanding of the situation. Yeah, basically vMix will, my understanding of Martin is that he's going to do whatever he can to get these other companies to let them incorporate their stuff or make their stuff available so that vMix can use it through the other company's NDI. He got Instagram comments, but the word on the street is that Instagram may be closing that door at some point in the near future. He's got he's got YouTube comments. That's only open as long as YouTube wants it to be open. They can change that any minute. So we're just at their mercy in that sense. But, I remember it was in June of last year, one morning, when all of a sudden Facebook broke. vMix could no longer stream to Facebook. And that was when Facebook said, if you're streaming more than one destination and you're using our API, you're not going to use that. And so it took, Martin figured out what was going on. He went and fixed it. 2 hours later, he was back in the conference with us. That's how responsive he is. If you read some of the forums of some of the other live streaming softwares, and people are having constant problems, and, they'll put it on the list. I'm sold. Daniel says, from what I've heard lately, Facebook stopped all streaming to Facebook groups via the API also. That is correct. I mean, we're streaming to the Streaming Idiots group today, but we're not using the API. I had a call about that from a guy in Texas who wanted to know, hey, why did this stop working? Well, it's an API thing. Use the custom RTMP server. Giles said, Tom, did you pay for Chatwing? I just noticed it's not timing out every 15 minutes. I did. I paid for a month, and then I found out that they were going to let me use the free version after all, so this is supposed to be the free version. If it's not timing out, then good for you. I can't even get it a second instance to fire up. Generally here, I'll have my vMix production on this monitor, and then Chatwing, YouTube, and the audio mixer from vMix on this monitor. And so I'm, right close to the camera. The camera's there, but close to the camera, I've got the chat. Right now, I've got the post show on, and so that's projecting. It's not projecting. It's on a big TV. Boy, my hands get big when I do this. It's on a big TV that's right behind the camera, so I can look in the camera and still read the chat. And that version of the chat, which is built into vMix through browser, it's not built into vMix. We used a URL in the web browser input in vMix. And so we brought it in, and that one's still working, but the other instances of Chatwing will not work. Frank says, Tom, is the vMix license easy to move to a new PC? Well, it's not real heavy, and it comes in a real small box. Yes. The trial will not move. The trial will not move. You cannot move a trial from one PC to another. But, you know, you can go get a different trial and just use a different email address. Frank says, I still need to build my killer PC using a plain Jane i7 for now. Well, a plain Jane i7 will work pretty well with the right graphics card. Otis says, can you bring Facebook in using web browser input? Yes, you can. You'll have to log into your Facebook account. And to do that, when you bring in the web browser input, you'll want to right-click that and enable the keyboard so that you can type. But yes, you can do that. Steve Brown says, Chatwing has timed out 3 times for me since the show started. Well, that's pretty good. Generally, it times out every 15 minutes. But this one here has not timed out at all. The other one here times out every 15 minutes, and now it's not even working. So Chatwing gets it's free. In fact, I emailed them for support, and they said, we don't offer support on the free version. I said, you mean you don't offer telephone support? And they said, no, we don't offer any support. We shouldn't even be answering this email. I thought, okay, good. That's Chatwing, vMix. Thank goodness they don't do the same thing. Thank goodness chats are a dime a dozen. Eventually I'll switch, but for now, we'll just take this one. We'll ride this pony until it breaks. We'll see. Well, folks, I sure do appreciate you tuning in today. It's been a lot of fun. And very possibly we'll see you next week. And actually, next week, next Wednesday, it will be the day after the vMix beta has been released. So I'll have to do a show, even if it's 2 in the morning. But it'll be 3 Eastern time. We'll see. And if somebody says, well, Tom, I'll do your show for you, let me know. We might negotiate something on that. Maybe I can call in and be a guest or something. We'll see. Well, on behalf of all the folks here at Eastern Shore Broadcasting, I want to thank you for tuning in to Streaming Idiots today and hearing all about our Streaming Idiots Meetup and, of course, our infomercial. If I can help you with anything live streaming, shoot me an email. There's a contact form right down there at easternshorebroadcasting.com, and I will get back with you for sure. I was thinking of that closing thought, and it just went out the door. So anyway, we'll catch you guys later. Be good. Have fun. Do something cool with your live streaming gear and post it to the Streaming Idiots group on Facebook. Oh, yeah, if you're not a member of that group, you need to be. Facebook.com/groups/Streaming Idiots. Come in, answer all the silly questions, give us your email address, and we'll sign you up. We got over 2,000 folks. I couldn't believe it. Amazing. Thank goodness they didn't all come to stream the Streaming Idiots Meetup. And hat tip to Jan and Marie for that, too. I still appreciate that. All right, guys. We're going to let the stream run out a little bit, and I will catch you on the flip side. Have great weeks.